We are counting down to the global major competition where some of the finest of athletes will be assembling to compete for gold and glory for their countries. And Ghana is a part of the countries that are competing in this year's Olympic Games. Ghana is in the 4x1 relay. We are also in the 200 meters and 100 meters events, as well as the high jump, where Rosie Bua, who told an incredible story, the first Ghanaian woman ever to secure qualification to represent the country in an Olympic competition, will be flying high the flag of Ghana. And Harry Stessy and Giselle Mensah will also be representing the country in the swimming events. But first, let's take a look at how Team Ghana, the 4x1 meters team to be precise, secured qualification to the Olympic Games. And when we come back, we'll be speaking to the head coach, Professor Andrew, and the captain of the team, Joseph Paul.
Following a setback during the changeover on day one at the World Relays, the Ghanaian quartet of Ibrahim Fuseni, Isaac Botsio, Benjamin Azamati, and Joseph Paul Amwa showcased resilience as they stormed to victory ahead of rivals Nigeria on day two, booking a ticket to the Paris 2024 Olympics. The team's qualification to the Paris Games is the latest high-profile achievement in the group's recent history. Their record-breaking gold medal at the Africa Games in Rabat in 2019 was Ghana's first since 2003, ending the country's 16-year wait for a gold medal in the event. 2 years later in Poland, they secured an Olympic ticket for the Games in Tokyo for the first time since Athens 2004, back in 1996. The following year in Oregon, they finished fifth in the final of the World Championships behind Canada, USA, Jamaica, and Great Britain, setting a national record of 38.07 seconds in the process. It's been 5 years of consistency, and with Paris 2024 on the horizon, this year could just produce more history. Following a setback during the changeover on day one at the World Relays, the Ghanaian quartet of Ibrahim Fuseni, Isaac Botsio, Benjamin Azamati, and Joseph Paul Amwa showcased resilience as they stormed to victory ahead of rivals Nigeria on day two, booking a ticket to the Paris 2024 Olympics. The team's qualification to the Paris Games is the latest high-profile achievement in the group's recent history. Their record-breaking gold medal at the Africa Games in Rabat in 2019 was Ghana's first since 2003, ending the country's 16-year wait for a gold medal in the event. 2 years later in Poland, they secured an Olympic ticket for the Games in Tokyo for the first time since Athens 2004, and did one better in Tokyo by booking a place in the 4x100-meter Olympic final, a feat
And that relay team, over the years, have set national records and broken those national records. And this year's Olympic Games, we are probably hoping that they will be able to do a sub-38. And when that happens, many people actually believe that that is a potential podium finish that they will be having. My colleague Dana Crampton put together that report. But Dana, just a quick one. Before I come to you, let me hear from Joseph Paul. Joseph, watching back that qualification you secured, what was going through your mind?
It was like, I mean, we went into that race trying to make it to the main finals, but you know, when stuff like that happen, it's like you just have to regroup. You know, you can't just it's not a time to play the blame game and you know say, oh, this person is the one that made the baton fall or something. We just have to, you know, get our minds right, mentally stay strong, and then we knew that we had a good team, but you know, in the relay is the baton that really, you know, speaks. So we just had to like make sure we come into the race the next day, trying to make sure we get the baton around it, and we knew that if we did that, the rest was going to be history. So we didn't want to do any like blame game or something. We just wanted to go out there and then make sure we execute the race and then come out with a win.
And you were able to get that. Danny K, just tell me briefly, this team, in fact, you had argued that this team have actually pampered Ghanaians to the extent that at this point we expect so much from them.
Yeah, look, the report has
basically summed everything up. In the space of 5 years, Ghana athletics, people are now interested in athletics again. They are not just interested in it for watching sake. They are interested in it because this team just keeps on pushing the boundaries. For me, the gold medal in Rabat was good.
Yeah.
The question was, what next?
Yeah.
2020 we were in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they didn't just qualify for the Olympics. They made an Olympic final in their first attempt as a group.
Yeah.
Then they went to the World Championships. And I intentionally highlighted in the report who beat them to that fifth place, where they set a national record. It was Canada, it was Jamaica, USA, and then the Great Britain. Yeah. These are 4 sprinting powerhouses. And if you look at the gap between, it was literally that thin. Yeah. And again, they just keep getting better. They went to the World Relays earlier this year. Yeah. Obviously, day one didn't go well, and that's when I made that pronunciation that they have pampered it. For me personally, right now, whatever they do for us is a bonus because, and we'll repeat it again, we've not given. What we've given them and what they are giving us is not a it's not proper, yeah, it's not a proper relationship. They are actually giving us more than what we've given them. Yeah. So again, I'm just happy that we have another opportunity to watch them at the Olympics. And for me, look, just getting to see these 4 guys run for Ghana is enough for me. Whatever they do at the Olympics is a bonus because again, they have over-pampered us. And for me, I'm honestly, as a fan, as a journalist, I'm very grateful for the journey and where they've taken the sport of athletics to at this point in time.
Prof, let me have Prof. Andrew in this conversation. Prof, you heard my colleague say that the relay team has over-pampered us. Have they over-pampered us?
Oh, yes, I think they've spoiled us. To the extent that sometimes when we talk about their exploits, we talk about it as if it's just another day on the track, right? And this is the fastest ever quartet that we've put together. Yeah. They've broken the national record at least twice.
In fact, 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, 3 times. Yes. Oh, sorry, my apologies. See, even I am guilty of what I'm saying. And they're ranked 7th in the world, right? And often one way I like to put this into perspective is to say, imagine whatever, right? Yeah. And that's where I think that we fall short sometimes. Having said that, you put yourself in those positions and that comes with pressure and you need to perform. And I think that's something that the boys understand very well.
And you just talk about pressure. So you have been with them in the last few days. How would you describe their preparations so far for this competition, Prof? Are they under pressure to deliver?
Well, it's the pressure. Are they under pressure? Yes, I think they're under pressure in terms of expectations outside of the group itself. Now, within the group itself, what we are trying to do is to go through our preparations and just put ourselves in a position where we can take advantage and execute, basically I should say execute the way that they are capable of. And if they do execute the way they're capable of, then the results will speak for itself. So what we've been trying to do is to refine and work on a few additional things. These guys are not amateurs, right? They've been at this for quite a while. They are very knowledgeable about their craft. In fact, given their level of expertise and how much they've improved is not even the right word. They are experts. Let me put it that way.
Okay, Prof. There's one important question I would need to ask. Yeah. And that question has to do with, over the years, like my colleague mentioned, in the last 5 years, this group of athletes have dominated the continent and even flown high the flag of Ghana at major global and continental competitions. What has changed within the last few years in terms of how we've been able to get elite athletes like the likes of Joseph Paul Amoah, who hitherto was the 200 meters record holder and in fact won the bronze medal. It was the first bronze medal for Ghana in the Commonwealth Games in 48 years. Just recently, he won a gold medal in the 200 meters in the African Games. Then we have Benjamin Azamati, the 100 meters record holder. In fact, I say Ghana's fastest man alive. What has changed within the last few years that we are not able to produce these kind of elite athletes?
Well, this will, I'll have to go back several years, maybe a bit over a decade. And the idea of reopening that pipeline for development, which is giving them the opportunity to school in the US, at least for those who had the opportunity. And I think what that did was to basically shift the burden of development elsewhere, even as we as a country reap those resources. And perhaps this is also a point where I need to say that for each and every Ghana, to their university coaches, to friends and family, and it's been a sacrifice. And perhaps coming back a bit more to your question, being in that NCA environment, for me, I think of the NCA environment, the U.S. collegiate system, as the best developmental, quote unquote, part for athletics in the world. And so week in, week out, these guys are facing some of the same guys they're going to be seeing at the global level later on. Now, one bottleneck that we've still not been able to address, even as these guys have overperformed and are doing extremely well, that's one area that I think as a country, compared to some of these other countries that you've talked about, sprint powerhouses, do really well in terms of supporting them with resources. And that's something that we need to really consider and take seriously if we expect them to get to the next level, medal talk at the global, on the global stage.
Okay. Okay. Joe Paul, have you guys over-pampered Ghanaians?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Trick question.
I think we just we are always ready for whatever moment it is. We know what type of position we put ourselves into. I'll say we just appreciate how Ghanaians are patronized in track and field right now. As to whether we're pampering them or not, I have no idea, man. I don't know. All we do, we're just doing our job, and then the rest, we take care of the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
What conversation have you been having with the group ahead of this year's Olympic Games?
I think that what we actually, this is what we've wanted the whole time, where it's like we have, depth in the group, where it's like we have about 5 or 6 people running really fast. And I know Prof. Andrew would actually testify to this, because it's like, I'll say it's a good problem to have for a coach, where it's like have so many, good athletes to pick from. We just, like you mentioned, we are number 7 in the world. What we actually the finals, because it's about 8 or 9 teams that go into the finals. So are we gonna say, okay, we're 7th in the world, so we anyhow you run it, we still gonna make the finals? We can't say that. We have to still go in there and make sure that the baton moves around and be able to get to the finals. Taking it race by race, I think is gonna be like that would be the best thing to do, because you don't want to go in there already thinking about the finals. You got to take care of what's in front of you before you go to the next day to try to get on the podium. And you can't get on the podium if you don't make the finals. So our main focus is to be disciplined and then make it to the finals. And then when we get there, we start talking about medals. We are not satisfied with being 7th. We don't want to just go into the finals. We were in the finals in Tokyo.
Yeah.
We want to go to the finals and then get something out of it. We want to get on the podium. So being number 7 is something that we always, talk about, but we are not satisfied. We want to make sure we go in there and then try to come out with the ultimate. The ultimate is gold, but if we get silver or bronze, we're still gonna be happy with it.
And we are having a conversation on gold platform, which is gold chase, isn't it? Okay, you just said, Prof, I'll come back to you pretty soon so that you can, because you just told me that you have an early morning session tomorrow, so I'll just come back to you, please. But then, okay, you heard him talk about the coach having a very good problem. You're talking about Saminu, 10.02, Zamati, 10.03. You have Husseini, Buchu, 10.15. These are incredible. This is arguably the fastest times we've had heading into a major competition like this. Prof is here, but if you were in the shoes of Prof, you also have a beautiful problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very good problem to have across board. It's not just in track and field. When you have a team full of quality, you are rest assured that whoever you pick will be able to do the job. It's just about the fine details that will determine who gets in ahead of another. But again, it's a very good problem to have for any coach, and even for the team also. And you rightfully mentioned it. In the past, it's been sort of lopsided teams when it comes to their individual speeds over 100. But this time around, spread around, you have a lot of quick runners who can tackle each, maybe the back straight, the start, the ankle. It's spread around, and I think it's a really good thing. But one thing I want to touch on is the mindset. Look, I really like the mindset of Joe Paul and the team. You've done it before. It's not about doing it again. It's about doing it better. But that is what is in the back of their minds. And that's a very good mindset to have going into a competition like this. Obviously, there's a job to be done. It is a remarkable achievement to do. I laugh because you're here. A remarkable achievement to qualify to back-to-back Olympic Games. But it's not just about participation for them, and that's the mindset that they have. And for me, it's a very good thing to have. Even you put me in the shoes of a coach. For a coach, if I hear my team captain talking like this, there'll be a grin on my face.
Yeah, and I'm sure Prof has a grin on your face right now, hearing Joe Paul talk about how their mindset is not just to make it to the final, but also to get the ultimate, which is win a gold medal. Let's not put so much pressure on them. But he said that being seventh in the world is not something they're happy with. They want to do better. One of the major challenges we've had has always been about the changing baton. Coach, what has been happening in training to ensure that, yes, this competition is a success? We don't go back to the stories of how, in fact, first day of Bahamas relay, there was baton problem, but they regrouped and they came back strongly. And that was one of the things that my colleague was talking about, the mental strength of these boys. And it is back-to-back Olympic Games. Joe Paul has Olympic experience. Azamati has Olympic experience. So tell me, what has been happening in the training sessions to ensure that, yes, we do not have some of these challenges?
Well, one, I would say, when you say challenges relative to other teams, I mean, I don't think our ratio of success to where we've fallen short a bit is any worse than the other teams. But having said that, I think the priority here is basically one, being consistent. It's all about execution. And as Joe said, you know, your priority is getting that baton around and doing so in an as efficient way as possible. And so what we're doing is just working on hand positions, working on spacing, working on timing of calls, and even more important, and Joe loves to do this, where we are getting into this mindset of actively thinking through the process, right? Because sometimes things happen, and the ability to adjust on the fly can be a huge thing or a big benefit. And you know, and often you hear us say, you know, you have runners who are relay smart. That's the ability to adjust as needed. So that's what we're working on: consistency, efficiency, and then being aggressive. And sometimes we also are pushing the boundaries just a little bit, just for us to kind of get an idea of what the thresholds are for us.
Do you have a beautiful problem?
It's a big problem. And by the way, this is something that perhaps I have to say this, is I'm not here. Yes, I may be here with Coach Salah, but we're actually consulting. We've been doing this for a few years now, where some of the other coaches who've handled the teams in the past actually do get feedback. We send videos, we talk back and forth. And so getting back to this question, do we have a problem? Yes, we have a problem. But as Joe said, it's a very good problem that we have.
That's a very good problem that you have, isn't it? Indeed. It's a very
it's a good problem to have. We'd rather have this problem than the other way around, where you feel like, you know, you have some weak links.
How do we motivate these boys to go out there and make their country proud? In fact, I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about this, but a few days ago, we had heard stories about outstanding per diems and what. How do we get these boys together? In fact, assuming I am coming all the way from Kasua to go to the airport to pick a flight or to charter, how do we motivate these boys so that these per diem issues do not get into their heads and affect them in this competition, Prof?
Well, the issue of the outstanding per diems, and I think, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but this goes back to World Records, right? World Records is one of the competitions. It's a bit unfair to them that the very competition where they qualify to be at the Olympics, that per diem is still outstanding. Now, I understand that when they were going to that, they were told that funds had been approved and it was a matter of getting the money released. And so if there's one thing that I would like to act or to say is that at least whatever is outstanding, that we settle that, put their minds at ease. Because, and perhaps, let me just go ahead and say this. They are here, but they are still paying bills, right? And so we need to recognize that, and whatever is owed to them, that's taken care of. Having said that, I also want to make it clear that people understand it's not an issue of what is happening in camp right now. This is something that's outstanding that needs to be addressed. In camp, I think we are doing fairly well. Morale is high. These guys are like a brotherhood, and with Rose, we move as a unit. They get along very well. And by the way, you know Ghana has arrived too when you're walking through the village, and sometimes I walk behind them, and as they pass other teams, they turn around to look at them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so anyway, that's Joe, anything you want to add on that? I'll ask Captain.
I mean, were you talking about in terms of the? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we are here.
Yeah. Are you talking in terms of like the per diem issue?
The per diem issue. Is this something that is affecting your preparations for this? Because the mind is a very funny thing. Sometimes it wants to do the hard thing, but when you remember that I'm owed some money, when will this money come? Then you feel like, come on, why should I exert so much energy?
I mean, I think always I say this, that intrinsically we are highly motivated. Like, this is what we want to do. We are happy when we're doing it. But it's only right. It's just fair that the other part is being taken care of. Like, what the promises or whatever it is being honored on the other side of the stick. So we don't really keep it in our mind. It's nice to be motivated, but it's fair and it's right to do it when you have to do it. You know what I mean? So we're not making that, bother us. We're here on a mission, and our mission is to leave here making history. So we are going to do our part, and then we expect the other party to do their part as well. So yeah, we highly motivated intrinsically, but it would be nice to have the other part taken care of. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joe Paul and Prof. I know you have early morning session tomorrow, so I appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And
you're welcome.
Thank you, Prof. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now you can go and take some rest. Joseph Paul Amwa is team captain for Ghana in the Olympic Games, whilst Professor Andrew is the coach of the team. Now, let's take a look at how Rose Yeboah secured qualification. But before Rose Yeboah, I want to take you to St. Augustine, right? That is where Ibrahim Fuseni went to school. And my colleague, Nathaniel Atto, was there just a couple of hours ago. He has something special of what transpired.
Administration block of St. Augustine's College, Cape Coast, an educational institution that is 95 years in terms of its history and its tradition in education here in Ghana, which has also contributed a great deal in terms of the talents that have been produced for various national teams of Ghana. You can immediately refer to the likes of Michael Essien, the late Junior Agogo, Matthew Amwa, the Andam brothers, Harry Edu-Infum, who is now an athletics coach of the national team, and the list goes on and on and on. But as we get ourselves ready for Paris 2024, the Olympic Games gives an opportunity for some more Ghanaians to become Olympians and also seal their status and possibly win laurels for the nation. Ibrahim Fussaini, a member of the sprint quartet, walked through these walls in this administration block in the year 2019, having completed the educational program here and having contributed effectively to the success stories of sport here. Today, I'll be having conversations with a few as they look forward to him performing well and adding a lot of bite to the sprint team's possible effort at the Olympic Games. I have with me one of the assistant heads here who will be wishing him well as well. Good afternoon, sir. Good to see you.
Fine afternoon, fine afternoon. I'm so happy to meet you today for this very important information.
Very well. Very well, sir. Now, Ibrahim Fussaini left in 2019. Now he's risen to a very high point in his career as an athlete. What would you like to say to him?
I wish him very well. I need him to be a very excellent athlete. When he was here, St. Augustine's College struck success in athletics competition for 3 consecutive years.
Wow.
Super zonals and then the zonal level were at best.
Very well.
And during his reign as a top athlete, our quartet team was able to, it was unbeatable.
Wow.
After a blistering 9.97 seconds run in the 100 meters at the Texas Relays in March 2021, Benjamin Azamati not only broke Ghana's 22-year 100 meters record, but also secured a ticket to participate in the 100 meters event at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. He will go on to represent the country in the 200 meters and 4x100 meters event in the global showpiece for the first time in his career. However, qualification for the 2024 Olympic Games 100 meters event via the same route was challenging for the 26-year-old who struggled to meet the entry standard time of a minimum 10.00 seconds. The closest he came was a season best of 10.05 seconds in the 100 meters final event at the Motornet GP in Finland last month. Meanwhile, following the closure of the qualification period on June 30, the sprinter succeeded in advancing through the World Athletics ranking system. Joy Sports editor Fencho Tahiro Fencho explains what this entails.
Remember, there will be 56 athletes competing at the men's 100 meters at the Paris Olympic Games. Now, out of this number, 30 of them are chosen through the entry standard, and the entry standard is 10.00 seconds. So any athlete that makes that, you automatically qualify. Then the remaining 26 of them will come from the ranking system, and the ranking is done through the competitions that you've run at the whole season. Each of them comes with a certain point allocation. So the more you run, the more you build up points to improve your own ranking. At the end of June 30, the ranking is looked at, and then the top 26 that come after those 30 who have made the entry standard are taken. In that ranking, Azamati came through in the 39th position, and Saminu occupied the 54th position, which means both of them fall inside the 56 athletes that will be going to Paris.
The West Texas A&M University graduate has since arrived at the Games Village in Paris and has set his sights on reaching the finals and possibly achieving a podium finish. This will be an improvement on his debut at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, where he missed out on the semi-finals after finishing 4th in his heat. The track and field events in the 2024 Paris Olympic Games will run from August 1 to 11, with the men's 100 meters preliminaries starting on Saturday, August 3. After a blistering 9.97 seconds run in the 100...
Ghana's fastest man alive, that is Benjamin Azamati. He will be part of Ghana's quartet. He will be competing in the 100 meters as well. As you heard in the report, he secured qualification by virtue of the fact that he's one of the highest ranked athletes. He's ranked within the 56 athletes who are qualifying for the competition. So that automatically gives him a spot to be part. But one athlete who has been running so fast this year is Abdul Rashid Saminu. He was part of Ghana's team that won a gold medal just last month in Douala during the African Athletics Championships. My colleague Victor Achutamaklo has details of how he qualified for that competition.
Look at for the very first time, American Athletic Conference champion, 1-2 4x1 champ.
Until recently, that would have been Benjamin Azamati or Joseph Paul Amoa, two sprinters who've made a habit of taking apart every relevant record in Ghana. Keeping up with them is hard work, but for Abdul Rashid Saminu, it is light work. The Nanumba native first shot to prominence in July 2022 when he was drafted as one of two late replacements for Joseph Menu and Emmanuel Yeboah in Ghana's 4x100 meter relay team at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Saminu was already familiar with the group, having been part of the relay team that won a silver medal in the invitational relay competition held in Nigeria the previous month. When he got the baton, Saminu cut through the air with explosive top-end speed on the anchor leg as Ghana finished third in the heats to qualify for the final. Or so they thought. The relay team would later learn that they had been disqualified for the final for a very simple yet disappointing reason. Ghana's team officials had failed to declare the changes in the starting list an hour before the heats. 3 months later, and with a disappointment behind him, Saminu won gold for the University of Ghana in the men's 100-meter final at the 2022 Gusa Games. He recorded a time of 10.26 seconds, surpassing the 10.60 seconds run by 2020 champion. And yes, he gets right, Benjamin Azamati. Saminu owes a debt of gratitude to South Florida University coach Eric Jenkins, who discovered him during his high school days at Al Azariah Islamic School in Tafo, Kumasi.
Oh yeah, I think I was in high school, then he reached out to me, and I was running I was having a PB of 10.3, I guess. Yeah, 10.36. Then he reached out to me. Then my academic wasn't really matching USF standard, so I need to change to different school. So I went to NAIA. Then I didn't know he was the one reaching out to me. I went to NAIA, then my coach and him, they are best friends. So
oh wow.
Yeah. So he called my coach one day. I was at practice, then he bring the phone to me. Then he called a name. I still don't remember him. So he said, I'm building a team here, and I want you to be part of the team. He was scouting 2 people in our team, me and Jill in session.
But if it's
what a team we have there for this year's Paris Olympic Games. And the gentleman who put together the reports are here, Victor Achutamaklo. Daniki, your brother.
Cut through the air with explosive top-end speed.
I was like, the boy is right, you say he cut through air.
But that's what he did.
How do you cut through air? The air, do you see him? Literal exhibition. The boy cut through air, Charlie. But Achu, let me just have an idea of the speed that we have witnessed from Saminu this season and how that will be a major factor if Ghana is to succeed in this race.
Oof, that's a difficult question to answer. The simplest explanation is that in the past 2 years, he's been able to knock off 0.25 seconds from his personal best at the end of each year.
Wow.
So for those who remember him from the Gusa Games, he was doing 10.25, 10.27, then 10.03. Now he's doing a wind-assisted 9.95.
Yeah.
And he broke, 3 records?
Yeah.
The just ended NCAA season for the University of South Florida. And his trajectory there, I think, and in that interview we heard him, he spoke extensively about the clarity that he has enjoyed in his career. And so while he was at Al Azariah Senior High School, Eric Jenkins, the coach at the University of South Florida, got in touch with him and said, there are 2 slots at the university. This is what I want you to do. And he explained to him in detail. So apparently their scouts down here had spotted him and seen his talent and noticed that he's someone who could run the anchor leg for them.
Yeah.
So that clarity, knowing that this is your specialty. This is where you can develop best, is what has helped. And he stayed the course. So University of Ghana, the national team, the relay team. So even when he was drafted in at the last minute during the Commonwealth Games, it was the stage was new to him. But that kind of scenario, that responsibility is something he was used to. And if you look at the speed with which he ran in, if you do the splits, what he did on that ankle, it was just crazy. And everything we're seeing this year, his performance at the Senior Athletics Championships in Douala, his performance at the Athletics Outdoor Championships in the US, where he ran the fastest 60-meter dash, the fastest 100-meter dash, and part of the record for the 4x100 meter, is simply because of that clarity that he has enjoyed. Not a lot of athletes get to experience that, but and I think if you ask him, he'll be proud that he gave up football to become an athlete, because at that time, when he first started, he was a footballer. He was combining the two, and he made that choice after that conversation with Eric Jenkins.
That's a good one. And Daniel, you'll be talking to me about Ruiz Yobua, who is flying like an eagle about bars. 5 years ago, she broke through into the scene. She's gone to every major competition, came back with a gold medal. I remember Abidjan Under-20 Championships, Africa University Games in Egypt, Rabat 2019, then African Championships in Mauritius. Gold, gold, gold. She just winning gold, gold.
Yeah, really, really, really impressive, especially when you look at the stride she's making in terms of chopping up and going up in terms of height. We know how very difficult, in fact, a centimeter in high jump it takes like years of training to be able to slash it down. But if you look at the jump that she's made from 2023 up until this point, she's taken about 9 centimeters off her personal best. She went from 185 to a 194, and then now a 197 heading into the Olympics. And the 197 is a height that previously was good enough to win IAAF Diamond League meeting. So it is a really good height to have. And when you look at the trajectory she's on, she's just 22. She has about 2 or 3 Olympics if she pushes it left in her, several tournaments or several international competitions ahead of her. And if you look at the consistency and the trajectory that she's going, look, she's a natural. And with the polishing that she's receiving at the University of Illinois, look, for me, the sky is her limit. This is the first Olympics, of course, so we need to be measured in expectations. It's always very difficult heading into that Olympic experience for the first time. I would say that go out and enjoy the experience rather than putting pressure on yourself to achieve big things. As I said, she has about 2 or 3 Olympics left. And in the coming years, look, she's an absolute beast.
An absolute beast in the next competition. Now let's go on the Zoom again. Fetio Tahiru, Daryl Allen, gentlemen, thank you. I think the way Fetio is smiling. Fetio, talk to us. What are some of the major matchups we should be looking forward to in this Olympics?
Wow, Muftau. Listen, I think everywhere you look at these Olympics, there are rivalries to savor. On the track, in the pool, pretty much everywhere you look. And I will just go through maybe a few of them as quickly as possible. I think for those of you that love swimming, one rivalry that you should all be looking out for is the rivalry between Katie Ledecky of the United States and Ariane Titmus of Australia. Now, I mentioned this rivalry because it's been boiling for a while. Now, Ariane Titmus shocked Katie Ledecky in Tokyo when she claimed the gold medal in the 400-meter freestyle. That event was considered Katie Ledecky's event, and she had been unbeatable up until that point. And in Tokyo, she was the defending champion. Oh, and then this Australian lady comes from nowhere and then beats her, doesn't finish there, goes on and smashes Katie's world record as well. So it's been boiling for quite some time now. Yeah. And certainly, Katie Ledecky would want her record back. But I think that if you want a third force that could make this rivalry one to savor, look out for the 17-year-old Summer McIntosh. Now, this Canadian lady
in the past year as well has not only broken a 10-decade unbeaten run from Katie Ledecky in the 800-meter freestyle, she's also gone on and beating her in the competition earlier last year. So she could be the one that could make this rivalry between Katie Ledecky and Arian Tatmos even more lively, because there's a third force in there. So for me, I'm looking forward to the 400-meter freestyle in the women in the pool. That should be a very, very special one. I think largely Katie Ledecky is expected to win maybe the 800 and maybe even the 200. But the 400 is where her biggest rivalry will come from. And be on the lookout for that particular race. I think it would be very, very special, especially when you throw in Summer McIntosh. Then if we go to the sprints, I think that is where, for me, it's difficult to really pick out one rivalry in this particular one. So I would just say, Muftau, look out for the America versus Jamaica rivalry. It's going to be special. It will be present in the 100 meters. It will be present in the 200 meters, both men and women, and it will be present in the relays. This is what it is. There is no other way to put it. In the 100 meters, we know that Keishan Thompson and Oblique Seville will be coming after Noah Lyles and Kenny Bednarek. So that should be a very, very special race in this. We know that Noah only just ran his fastest 100-meter time at the Diamond League only a couple of days ago, 9.81 seconds. And you know, Keishan Thomas, he has the fastest time in the world this year, 9.77. But one thing that you can't rule out for Noah Lyles is that when he's mattered most, he has delivered. He wasn't expected to win the 100 meters at the World Championship in Budapest, but he stepped up and he won. And so I think that the Jamaicans may have the fastest athlete, but certainly, I think Noah will still be many people's favorite. It will be some rivalry, because if Noah Lyles gets beaten in that 100-meter final by the Jamaican, I think the world will probably come to an end. It will be unbelievable.
Now, we cannot also forget about the Tamberry and then Bashem.
Yes, that's what. So I was going to go to the field. I was just talking about what's happening on the track. So, you know, and I think that is one thing that we should be on the lookout for. The relays as well, both the men and women. We know America beat them at the World Championships in Budapest. Jamaica did get the gold in the women in Tokyo. And in the men, America didn't even make the final in Tokyo. So that's how bad it is. So they desperately want to win that this year because they're defending world champions. So that should be special.
Okay, Alan, talk to me about Africa. He spoke a lot about the athletes from other parts of the world, but we cannot forget about...
Hold on, before you go to Al, we can't finish the rivalries without talking about what could potentially happen between Sydney McLaughlin and Femke Bol.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I think on the track, that should be special. 50.65, 50.95. For the two of them. I think Sydney is obviously the favorite to win. What is left to be seen is what kind of record will be broken. My word, Mufta, you even give me time. There will be a rivalry between Bekele and his very good friend from Kenya as well in the marathon. I'm not sure. Bekele has not been to the Olympics since 2012 in London, and is making a return to come and compete in the marathon. And you know, he will be really up against it, especially when he's coming up against another 41-year-old, a man that doesn't want to end it all. And I'm wondering exactly what he's trying to achieve in his life. But Eliud Kipchoge and Kenenisa Bekele in the marathon, renewing rivalry that started back in 2003. That will be some special in the men's marathon.
About 21 years ago. Friends, just stay with me and talk to me too briefly about your very own girlfriend, Faith Kipyegon and Shifan Hassan. That's also going to be another rivalry there.
Yes, it was supposed to be. And I think that at the moment, circumstances just make it seem like Faith Kipyegon would be unstoppable. And it wouldn't just be about her winning a gold medal in 1,500 meters. I think it would be more about her breaking her own world record, which she only said about 2 weeks ago in Monaco, 3:49. It's unbelievable that an individual can do that, you know. But the reason I say this is that Sifan Hassan, who won bronze, by the way, in Tokyo, when she attempted to win 3 gold medals in the 10,000, 5,000, and 1,005.
Yeah.
It took Kipyegon to stop her in the 1,005, and she ended up winning bronze.
Yeah.
This year, Sifan Hassan is doing something that had never been done before in the history of the Olympic Games, Muftau. She is going for 4 events. And that's why I think she will not be a match for Faith Kipyegon. She's doing 1,005, she's doing 5,000, she's doing 10,000, and she's doing the marathon. It's never happened before. And that was exactly the reason I think she lost to Faith Kipyegon in Tokyo in the 1,005, because she had already done the 10,000, 5,000. It was just impossible. This time around, she's doing 4, and I'm not sure how she could possibly beat Faith Kipyegon, especially in the 1,005. Okay. The other competitor in the 1,005 maybe would be Gudaf Sege of Ethiopia, who's run, I think, a 353 this season. The issue with her as well is that she's doing 3 events as well. So 1,005, 5,000, and 10,000. So I think Faith Kipyegon surely will go down in the record with possibly an Olympic record at the very least, even if she doesn't break her own world record.
Thank you. Just wrap up this for me, right? In our conversation, you do not talk about Lechile Tebogo. You do not talk about Ferdinando Manyala. These are some of the brighter spots for Africa going into the track events. Lechile, first African to make a podium in the World Champs in Budapest. You were there for that. Ferdinando Manyala, he won the Commonwealth Games gold medal. But do you foresee these athletes being Africa's brightest spots in this? Or you actually think that Kenya with Faith Kipyegon and Mary Morai and co, then we'll go to Ethiopia, Gudaf Chege and co, being Africa's spots in this? Do this for me in 45 seconds. Let me come back to the studio and wrap up.
Yeah, Alan is here. I thought you were reserving that question for him. That's why I didn't specifically mention the African athlete.
So just do that for me in 45 seconds. Let's go.
Yes, Letsile Tebogo is definitely a contender for the podium in both the 100 and the 200. He lost his mother going into these Olympic Games, so it's extra special for him if he can do something special. He finished in the podium places. He got a silver in the 100 meters in Budapest, got a bronze in the 200 meters. So certainly, I think he is one of the contenders, even for gold medal, I dare say, especially in the 200 and the 100 meters. I think, you know, for Ferdinand, I'm not too excited because he runs only his fastest times when he's running in Kenya, and every time he's matched most outside of the country, he hasn't really come to the party. Yeah. But he's done 9.79 this season, which is the second fastest time in the world this year. So you can't rule out a time like that. So certainly I have to tip him. And then our very good friend, Akande Simbine, who has been very unfortunate in all of the previous World Championship, Olympic Games, never finishing in the podium. And yet, this time around at the last London Diamond League, we saw him finish second just behind Noah Lyles. Yeah. So he's been running really well this season, as he's done in every season leading to a major championship, and it hasn't come together for him. Hopefully this is a year it finally does. And the podium place, even if it's a bronze medal, would mean something to him.
Finally, is this a... Charlie. You make a cough. Okay. Wrap up this for me. And I want you to center on Ghana for me. Team Ghana, right, in this competition. We didn't talk about the swimmers. Talk to me about the swimmers. What we should be expecting from them. Do this for me in like 45 seconds. Let's go.
No, for the swimmers, we know how the heats in swimming is run, or is swam. They do it according to times. Yeah. So we know that both Harry Stacey and Roselle, their times are not necessarily, it doesn't compare with the best in the world. It's a wild card. So they will be competing in a very similar heat that Abeku did the last time. Yeah. Whether or not they win, it's very unlikely that they will progress. But it's about, for me, it's about enjoying the moment. They're getting the experience. They are both very young. They did really well at the Africa Games here in Accra. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the experience, and it only gets better from here.
Achu, enjoy the moment too? Or you have expectations?
Not really. Enjoy the moments. But I'm going to end with something Prof spoke about. What do we do to these athletes when they leave school? What do we do to those here who we have to train? You've just spent $18 million on 10 youth resource centers. If none of them have tracks that meet world standards, you can organize your circuit championships in Ghana, but Azamati will not come down because he will know, and his trainers will tell him that whatever he does there will be cost 90 because that facility does not meet international requirements. These guys, Saminu, Rosie Eboa, all of them have killed themselves to get this far. What the state has to do, look, as for the bonuses, we'll fight that battle for them, but you need intentional leadership to think of a way to find the revenue or the resources, put these facilities in the right shape to ensure that at the end of this tournament, which we expect to be seminal in their respective careers, the next generation coming will be able to tap into that and they'll develop right.
And when they develop right, Joy Sports would be here to deliver for you. I am Muftau Nabila Ablai. This has been Coach Chase.